Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and happy Bookmas Day 7. It is December 1st and I am ready to kick off the holiday season with some great holiday reads. Now you would have seen on Bookmas Day 3 my holiday TBR, and you'll be seeing those books crop up between this and the second reading vlog, which will be coming next week. But I have already started the first book, and that is Love in Winter Wonderland by Abiola Bello. So I do believe this is a YA Christmas romance. I'm not quite sure the age of these characters, just because I found out that this is actually set in the UK, because they're talking about being in college, but I'm quite sure it's UK college, so in my head I think they're 17 or 18, but I'm still iffy on how the UK school system works in relation to ages and so on and so forth. But this book is following Ariel and Trey, and I'm only 2 chapters in. I will say, Ariel, you believe in that Twilight is the greatest romance of all time. I don't know if I agree with that, but we love a bookish girly. We love that, and it is a bookish story. Because Ariel and Trey are both working at Wonderland, which is a bookshop for the holiday season. Trey's family owns this bookshop, and due to the opening of a big box bookstore down the road, they're looking at basically having to close the bookstore due to lack of sales. And Trey and Ariel just cannot have this. They must save the small town bookshop. So they venture to work out a way to do this together. The only problem is they're kind of rivals. They don't really get along that much. And I am curious to see how it works out, because in these first 2 chapters, Trey has a girlfriend who is not Ariel. So that is going to be a little questionable for me. But yeah, this is my current physical read. And then I have a Kindle read that I'm going to start tonight. I just need something soft and fluffy, but also something dark and absurd and really spicy, especially after watching the first 2 episodes of Heated Rivalry this weekend. Yes, I bought the book on Kindle because you can't get the physical copy, but I haven't read it yet and I don't know when I'm going to read it, so don't ask me my opinions and thoughts about that, but loving the show. So I picked He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Alta Hensley. This is a holiday dark romance following, I can't remember what her day job is, but I know she kind of has an online spicy persona, and she has both a relationship with a fan online as well as a sexy fireman who saved her life, who came into her life 2 or 3 years ago when a tragic accident happened, and he has now deemed himself her protector. The only thing is he may have gone from protector to stalker real quick, and she just hasn't yet picked it out yet. I assume it's going to be a spicy, crazy, fun little time, and it is a little bit of a duet. So I'm just curious to see how that works out. And any 911 fans out there know that I might be in the mood for some firemen or firehouse romances. But those are the 2 that we're kicking off this December 1st. Also, I've made the decision that each night for the next 25 nights will be a new Christmas movie. I think I'm going to kick it off with The Christmas Prince. I'll let you know what I decide. However, my asthma be really acting up. I'm quite sure I'm on the verge of either having a cold, or it could just be that I started my period today. I don't know. So we'll see. I might be in bed for quite some time, but yeah, I'll let you know when I have more updates on both of the books. It is Tuesday night, 5:11 p.m. Not much to update you on Love in Winter Wonderland. I really have not gotten too many chapters into it. Let's just say last night I had a bit of a panic attack. My body said nah. I gave out around 9:30. So not much got read. I did read a little bit of He Sees You When You're Sleeping. So I'm like 2 or 3 chapters into this story. It is a holiday dark romance. It's a stalker romance. So you are following people, Jack and Claire, Chloe, Jack and Chloe. You're following Jack and Chloe. Chloe is a jewelry influencer Chloe's a jewelry influencer who lost her family a couple Christmases ago, and she has essentially become numb to the world. The only thing that she really cares about is growing her career, the holidays be damned, basically. And Jack is a fireman who has become obsessed with her, and in fact, visits her house every night to shovel her drive-in so, he can wipe away his footprints, but also make sure she's safe and watch her do her little TikTok lives. And that's pretty much all I've seen and read so far. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm gonna like it. So far the writing hasn't necessarily piqued my interest, but emotionally I wasn't in the best place last night. So that's where we are. For the first holiday movie of the season, we watched Holiday Heist. It is a new holiday romance on Netflix. I ended up giving it, I think, 3 stars on Letterboxd. This movie follows two down on their luck, like kind of broke characters who are in need of some cash this holiday season, and they both want to take some revenge out on the owner of Sterling. So they team up to rob the store. And of course, a little romance ensues from there. I think, like, in terms of like holiday movie plot lines, I haven't seen many holiday heist thriller situations that also feature romance. So this one kind of cute. It touches on some slightly harder topics, with the main character's mom being sick, and then the other main character, he's a single daddy. So I don't know. If you like that, you like that. It just wasn't as romantic as I feel like other holiday movies are. I feel like I need to also review the holiday movies I'm watching in this vlog. So that's the one. But also, it is midnight, so it's technically Friday, but it's Thursday night technically for me. And I did just finish Love in Winter Wonderland by Abiola Bello. So things to say about this book. This book is textbook emotional cheating. Like, if I had to describe Trey and his current girlfriend's relationship, I would use the song Scared of Lonely by Dua Lipa, We Almost Broke Up Again Last Night by Sabrina Carpenter, and Traitor by Levi Rodrigo. And yes, I did put those two in the same sentence. So if you don't know anything from Love in Winter Wonderland, from the back, it just seems like we're going to follow two rivals, Ariel and Trey, being forced to work together to save Trey's family bookshop. But no. What is happening while they are doing that? Trey and Ariel are both fighting this emotional connection they have. And they're both like, I kind of want to act on this. But Trey's like, I have a girlfriend. This will never happen. And Ariel's like, you know what? Maybe it will. So yeah, textbook emotional cheating. Not saying Blair is a particularly amazing character. However, I will say the way she reacted when Ariel's like, yeah, I have feelings for your boyfriend, which might be a spoiler. You know what? Not saying it was a great move, but you know what? Somewhat valid. I feel like in that moment, granted, I have to keep in mind that these are 17 and 18-year-olds. Emotional maturity is not high amongst this group, and I'm just looking at the side characters of Bugs and Santi and being like, so parents of the group, have you happened to step in to be like, And you know what? I still kind of feel bad for Blair. I know she's kind of a shitty person, but also, like, she got done dirty. She got done dirty a little bit. Not saying that she might deserve a few just desserts, but still. Yeah, I don't really know how to rate this, because, like, it was so annoying, but there was mess. There was drama. So I feel like if you like mess and you like drama. Also, here's another plot line that might be a spoiler. This just annoyed the fuck out of me. So keep in mind, Ariel's 17, and like this famous young adult author walks in to sign some books to help save the bookshop. And he flirts with Ariel openly. And apparently Trey's jealous. I'm like, how old is this man? I'm quite sure this young adult author is not 17. I'm quite sure he's not of any appropriate age. Why are we jealous of a grown-ass man who's flirting with a teenage girl? Just saying. Some things pissed me off. I'm not trying to shit on this author, because overall it was a well-written story, and I definitely think if this is the kind of story you're looking for, it'll likely be up your alley. Like, Trey, like, if you want a story about family and community and everything and sort of learning to gain your self-worth, like, there's a lot of trigger warnings that you do need to check for this story. I think this one would be up there. It's going to be probably like 3.5 stars for me, and then like a 0.5 on the chili spice rating is where I'm settling on. So yeah, in terms of our Christmas movie watch, I did watch the first and second A Christmas Prince movie. Gave them both 4 stars. Classic holiday romances. Highly recommend. It is midnight currently, and I haven't watched my Christmas movie for the day, so I don't know if I try and watch like a really short one right now, or if I do a double feature tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure. I'll update you then, as well as tell you the next book we're moving on to. It is Friday evening. I do apologize if you hear the heater running. It is necessary because it is cold today. But I have picked up He Sees You When You're Sleeping. And I'm just going to say, I wonder if this book is going to irk me just a little bit. I just read a scene. So she is a social media influencer. She's been doing her job. I'm not saying, like, experience doesn't count for anything. But, like, she's shitting on this guy who's, like, the marketing manager for the company she's working with. For, talking with her, like, these are things that you could do. Maybe using technical jargon. He's all fancy with his business degree. I don't know. I feel like if he went, like I did, I went to get 2 degrees in business in marketing, particularly digital marketing. I don't know. He might have a degree for a reason. I'm not saying degrees count for everything in life, but it's also like she's discounting his expertise because, like, he went to college and she didn't, I think. Which I understand not everyone can afford to go to college, but sometimes, like, maybe hear him out. Like, if the only reason you don't like him is because he has a degree, or he chose to get a degree and you didn't, I don't know. Just feels a bit like. Okay. So it's a few hours later. This is upside down. It's a few hours later. And I am a quarter of the way through He Sees You When You're Sleeping. Now, I just have to say, I'm not really enjoying this book. I am intrigued by some of the things going on. However, the characters in this book make me go, So, like, to explain my thoughts, I need to put this down. First off, we have our FMC Chloe. She is an online luxury influencer. However, in her secret private life, she is a voyeuristic, exhibitionist cam girl. And she, in her inner monologue, really likes to talk about how she is this edgy girl and how she wishes she could let her edgy side out, and how every man she meets who basically isn't walking around tatted up with scars and sort of all looks like a criminal is a little too vanilla for her. She definitely gives, I'm not like other girls and I want to live on the wild side, however I may not be as wild and edgy as I actually think I am. And then we have Mr. Jack over here. They have struck up an in-person relationship, as well as Jack over here is stalking her, but Jack absolutely loathes himself. He hates the stalker side of him. However, the stalker side of him, while it does some things, like he does some questionable things, the stalker side of him is out here shoveling snow, replacing batteries and fire alarms. He's apparently a very helpful stalker. Very helpful stalker. Yeah. And then we have Tyler over here. We don't get his POV. He is a co-worker slash superior to her who has a little bit of a crush. However, he seems a little more bold and ambitious and a little more forward with what he wants, because he definitely puts himself out there for Chloe. And however, she's like, at first she's like, he's a little too vanilla for me. And then she's like, now he's just a little too creepy for me. So, and all along, Chloe's just out here ignoring signs. Ignoring all the signs. So we have Chloe, who is the very much so sad but wants to be edgy, good girl situation going on, who is also kind of ashamed of her pleasures, even though she wants to break out of that. Then we have Jack, the stalker, who's ashamed of himself for being a stalker, but just can't seem to quit. But you know what? Things are made up, because at least he shovels her driveway and does nice things to bring her life. And then you got Tyler, who is the corporate executive who she likes to dog on, but however seems willing to go and take part in these spicy things that she might be into, but she's like, nah, that's creepy. This man, creepy. So, and all along, the writing in itself is not particularly good, but we've had like one somewhat spicy scene. And if the spicy scenes are good for a dark romance, this might save it. But, yeah. Part of me feels a bit like I'm hate reading this right now. So I don't know if it'll end up being a DNF or not. But that's where I stand. But I am going to call it a night on the reading for a little bit. because I'm going to take a shower, going to watch our next Christmas movie. Shocker, it's the third of Christmas Prince movie, and then we're going to watch the new episode of Heated Rivalry. And it's Saturday evening. I've not been in a great mood today. I've also not felt great today, and the books I've been reading today have also not been good. So first off, He Sees You When You're Sleeping, the book, the Christmas dark romance that I had started. I've officially decided to DNF this book. This book does not know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a Hallmark movie or a dark stalker romance. And frankly put, the main male character too whiny for me and too conflicting for me. And then the female main character is just so pick-me. I'm not like other girls. And I just like... And also, it drives home my point of like... The only like super dark element in this book there's the stalker element, although I don't know, that's the stalker element. I'm just like, I'm confused about him because I don't think it was necessary, but I feel like there's like, it's so dark because she's so into like kink and all that and stuff like that, and I'm like, that can't be your only thing to make it a dark romance. Like, I could be really reading the silliest rom-coms and she could be like, tie me up, and I'd be like, yes, this belongs in a rom-com. Just because someone has preferences that are technically outside the sexual norms does not necessarily mean that can automatically qualify it as dark romance, nor does it always mean that you can only have it in dark romance. And that was what pissed me off, because I felt like that's the only thing that made her dark. Also, the whole book, like, it kind of felt like she was kind of ashamed of her preferences and her wants and needs, and I'm just not down to read books about shame. I'm done with that. And then a book that I finished and I wish I never did, The Gift by Frida McFadden. So this is a Christmas holiday thriller that is based off of The Gift of the Magi. This is a 1-star. I finished it because it was an hour-long audiobook, and even though I really would have liked to DNF it, all I had was 20 minutes left, but little did I know those 20 minutes themselves would be the longest 20 minutes of my life. And this may be spoiling the book for you, but I can tell you exactly what happens. We have a broke woman who is dumb when it comes to her relationship and general self-preservation, and her own vanity tends to be her downfall. She is married to a man-child who's also cheating on her, who she gives way too much credit for. And the creepy old woman who she sells her hair to in order to buy her husband this undeserved Christmas present is also, guess what, not who she seems. And then, of course, the last 20 minutes literally is just like, oh, okay, you're kind of a shit husband. And he's like, well, I didn't ask you to do this. And she's like, well, man, I wonder how to escape this situation. And then, spoiler alert, she kills him. That's how it goes. This does not make me want to read another Frida McFadden book. I've only ever had maybe an urge to read one of her books, and this has made me be like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, sis. Sounds like a terrible idea to me. So now I need a mental break. I did finish the final Christmas Prince movie. That was the highlight. That is, again, another 4-star, beautiful watch. I feel like I just need to watch a few more Christmas movies tonight. And then we'll pick up something else, because there's still one more day left of this vlog, and I feel like I need to win. Oh, another update. I started listening to Charles Dickens' original A Christmas Carol. Now, that might be a highlight. That might be a highlight, because it's actually quite an interesting listen, even though there's nothing in it that's really said and happened that hasn't, like, been in any of the other adaptations that, like, many of us have seen. But that one may actually be the best book that comes out of this vlog. So, yeah, I'll let you know if anything is different, but I'm going back to reorganizing my bookshelves, and you will see a bookshelf tour sometime, I think this week, for Bookmas. So if you're wondering or curious about that, you'll see them soon. It is Sunday afternoon. Yes, I have been crying prolifically. I just saw Eternity, the movie with Elizabeth Olsen, Callum Turner, and Miles Teller. It is so beautiful and yet so devastatingly sad at the same time, and I have yet to stop crying since I left the movie theater. However, I will let you know, last night I did pick up Set the Record Straight, which is a sapphic holiday rom-com, friends to lovers, fake dating by Hannah Bonham Young. We're following Clara and Evan. So
Clara recently started a job at like pretty much a queer-only artist space, and she, through a bunch of misunderstandings, has her boss thinking that she is a queer woman. And Clara confides in her best friend Evan, who's recently, broken off her engagement. And Evan's like, well, hey, I need someone to make my ex a little jealous, and you need someone to fill in to be your like fake girlfriend. Why don't we be each other's fake girlfriends? And I'm assuming things ensue from there, because Clara is supposedly straight, but it is said that she's going to have her bisexual awakening here. And Evan has always had a bit of a crush on Clara, but it's always been off limits because, straight best friend. So I'm excited to see how it shakes out. However, when you just cry so much that you're physically exhausted? That's where I'm at. So I'm giving you this update at like 4:30 in the afternoon because I have a feeling I'm going to go inside and fall flat on my face in the bed asleep. That feels like what's going to happen. So, yeah, I'll update y'all in the morning if I happen to finish the book tonight. It's only 175 pages, so, I mean, it's not impossible if I wake up early enough to finish the book to finish it tonight. But, yeah, my goal for tomorrow is, in fact, to start something happy. Obviously, I need to go and work through some things. I've said this multiple times, and I'm starting to feel like 2025 was like a year of information gathering and of me learning, sometimes specifically the hard way, the things that my body and my mind and my emotions can and cannot handle. And it feels like 2026 is going to be the year that I kind of, for lack of a better word, rebuild myself. So I don't know. That might be an update in the following holiday vlog, but I'm going to leave y'all for now.
And we have reached the end of this reading vlog. I did finish Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonham Young last night, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars and 2 chili spice. I just needed something. While it did have the emotional element of dealing with very religious parents who had previously not accepted and kicked out their daughter, there was that heavy emotional element to it, and there is discussion around mental health. I just needed a good cutesy holiday romance that had me kicking, giggling, and screaming and everything, and this one was it. And I highly recommend it if you're looking for something short and quick with that heartwarming depth to it, but also that cutesy, discovering yourself, having a date for the holidays. And yeah, there was a cute little epilogue too. And I also will say there's no third act breakup in this one. So if you're looking for something that's not that, I will say, I guess since it is novella, I guess you could theoretically say insta love, but there is that childhood friends to lovers element. So that's up to you. And I am still in the middle of listening to A Christmas Carol, so I can't say much other than I am enjoying the audiobook so far, and it's under 4 hours. I think it's 3 hours and 50 something minutes. So I'll update you on that, and I have watched no new Christmas movies since then. But I still have about 3 or 4, and I have 4 Christmas books that I had planned to get through that I will be doing in our next holiday reading vlog, which will be a week from now. So let me know what you thought of the books we read in this video, or if you have if you have any more holiday movie, book, or music recommendations for us in the comments down below. And I will see you again in a week for more holiday reading.